Hey, it's Brady here from Conjurer. We are a UK-based rock band, and we are out here in Tasmania playing Dark Mofo Festival, and in support of our new record Pathos, which is out 1st of July on Nuclear Blast. So that's the deal. That's all
Beautiful,
I've got.
Brady. Thanks for joining us today, mate, even though you're a little bit under the weather.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for having me. I'm like I said, I'm just happy to be living a bit more of a normal life now. Like the jet lag is brutal. Everyone said it was gonna suck coming out here, but yeah, it's been rough.
Yeah, it sounds it, mate. It sounds it. But you actually, as you said, man, you're in Tasmania at the moment for a show coming up at Dark Mofo in Hobart, which it's a pretty unique festival in a lot of ways, Dark Mofo. Like, how much do you actually know about it?
Honestly, like when we got the offer, we like looked it up and saw the lineup, and I was like, oh, this kind of feels like the Australian road burn, but like it's just so much more than that. Like when we drove into the city on Wednesday night, like just seeing everything lit up red, and like just the how far reaching this thing is. Like it's such clearly like a cultural moment for the people here, and it's an insane atmosphere. Even like I ran out to the pharmacy and last night to load myself up on pills and get some Vietnamese food, and just like walking down the street, all the lights everywhere, like people out enjoying themselves. Like it's incredible, and I haven't even really stepped foot in it yet. So I'm really looking forward to tonight getting out there and we need to check out the Winter Feast and see what else is on. But yeah, it's unlike anything I've experienced before, and speaking to other bands that have played it and other people that have been over, they were like, this is the best thing we did as a band, like it is held in such high regard. We're just kind of blown away the more we find out about it to actually be here doing it.
Yeah, it sounds great, man. Well, what can people actually expect from your show, and where do you think it's going to fit in with everything else going on?
I think we're quite lucky in that the lineup for the Sancte Noctis event that we're doing is bands that we love, with Black Sheep Wall especially. I've wanted to see that band for so long, and now we get to play with them. I'm really stoked on that. Death Heaven, Lingua Ignota, like there are so many really cool bands. I think it's the kind of scene that we have always felt that we want to be a part of, and I think our music has always been a little bit more accessible than like your typical road burn fare. And I think on this, with Pathos, the new record, it's definitely leaning more in that direction. So it feels kind of like we're earning our place in this scene a little bit more than we have before. But it's definitely where I see the band and where I'd like to be. So to be able to be out here and doing it at such a ridiculous event is beyond us. In terms of from the show, what people can expect, we very much don't cater our show to any particular audience. You turn up, you'll get a Conjurer show which will be heavy and loud, and unless the show's going really badly, we probably won't talk to the audience. So yeah, that's bring earplugs is my only real advice.
Cool. From what I can notice, so you guys aren't doing any shows over in Australia while you're over here. Is that right?
And the festival requested it as an exclusive, but I think the promoter wants to bring us back next year to come to Australia, so like Australia proper. So I'm really excited. I have like an uncle and a very good friend that live in Perth, which apparently isn't on any Australian tours because it's in the middle of fucking nowhere.
Yeah, it's on the opposite side of the country.
Yeah, but hoping we can get out there and visit there, and yeah, it's crazy. It's one of those, kind of like America for me. I grew up knowing about it, and feel so at home around an Australian accent just from, being immersed in it with TV and stuff growing up, but never been here, never actually until 2019. I'd never been to the US either.
Wow.
That was with the band. So actually getting to come out and experience these places in real life is such a trip. Because it's that weird, it's that familiarity you have from growing up with that media mixed with the fact that, I just going into the pharmacy last night and like it was an Australian dude that I was chatting to. I'm like mind blown. Like it's just
yeah, we're different sort of people.
Yeah, for sure. They say everyone's been so kind from the second we set foot in the country to now. Everyone's been brilliant. So yeah, it's been an amazing experience. I'm really glad that we're out here doing it. I just wish I didn't feel so unwell.
Yeah, hopefully it gets better for you soon, brother.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah. So the other big news from Conjurer, of course, is you'll be releasing your new album Pathos on July the 1st. So tell us a bit about that album musically, mate, and then what we can expect from it.
I really hope we will, because we've been sat on that record for so long. Something that has kind of really dawned on me in talking about this record a lot is that, we wrote the majority of our last album, Mire, when we first started the band, and we were gigging those songs for years before the record, was even recorded. So what we really found the benefit of with Pathos is that we've been doing this band for like 7 years now, and we're finally getting to see the benefit of that experience. When we wrote most of Maya, Dan and I had played in some local bands. Like I'd done a tour. Mm-hmm. We'd not really done anything. We didn't really know what we were doing. We had our influences, whether that be like Gojira, Black Dahlia Murder, starting to get into Converge, but it was still quite kind of like my first death metal band kind of stuff. So really with Pathos, it's like 7 years of touring and playing with much better bands than us, and exploring our taste and getting into new music. And when this band started, I didn't know any of the bands on the lineup for Dark Mofo this year, or like half of the bands that we've toured with in the last couple of years. I just had no idea about this scene. So I think Pathos is the sound of a band that's like starting to mature and starting to like really find our feet and understand what we want to do with music more. It's the first time we've kind of pointed our nose in the direction of a particular scene. Like we definitely feel more at home in that Roadburn, Dark Mofo, Arctangent in the UK kind of realm than we do at the more mainstream stuff that we've played. And I guess we're kind of leaning into that a little bit more on this record than anything before. So yeah, it's been an interesting one. And I think I don't think they're disappointed, but I think our label and PR are aware of the fact that we're going to be picking like 8-minute singles and not really writing for radio. So,
good on you.
Yeah, it's a nice position to be in.
Excuse me. Lyrically, the album covers things like fear, anxiety, loss in the afterlife. It sounds like pretty serious subject matter.
We're surprisingly serious guys. When you get down to it, like ultimately, I think all of us see music and the band as a bit of an escape and a chance to kind of channel all of that negativity that kind of everyone lives with it at some point, and everyone kind of thinks about this shit. But I think it's a healthier way to deal with it than being miserable all the time.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, like I think we really try and write about things that either interest us or are a bit more personal, or even, you know, just something like someone will hear of a story or an idea or something, and it'll just like, if it sticks with you in your head a little bit, it'll develop into a song. And we actually were quite collaborative with the lyrics on this record, which normally one or two guys will write each particular song, whereas we were like almost like a writer's room. While we were tracking the album, the other three, whoever wasn't playing, would be just sat on laptops writing and editing and like cutting stuff down. And it was kind of chaotic, to be honest, but I think we came out with something that is interesting. And I think that like with all kind of like shouting music, the lyrics tend to be a bit of an afterthought. But I think we've written stuff that really holds up outside of just being yelled over some music, you know?
Yeah.
Hopefully people will take the time to kind of dig into the lyrics and kind of open up that next level to the music.
And your music blends genres such as sludge, death, doom, black metal, and hardcore, amongst others. So on paper, all of that shouldn't really mix make, but somehow you make it work. Like, was it a case of just throwing everything against the wall and seeing what stuck, or was it a more planned sound?
Kind of neither, to be honest. It was myself and Dan had kind of grown up on metalcore and like 2000s metalcore, like Bullet for Valentine and Trivium and all of those bands. Like that was what got me into heavier music, and we'd played in metalcore bands for years, and we just got to the point where we were sick of it. And like it was all just ego and infighting, and like, oh, so and so's band was higher on the lineup at that local gig than mine, and all that shit. And it was just like so not what we were trying to do or be about. And so when we sat down to write, I just discovered Conjurer and, you know, Black Dahlia Murder and these bands that were like that next step up from metalcore. And it was like blowing my mind. I was kind of like having this whole new world open up to me. And Dan was, you know, probably a few years ahead of me in his kind of musical evolution, and was showing me stuff like Pallbearer and Yarb and Electric Wizard, and, you know, all of these new sounds were, you know, so like Arm for Apocalypse and Down, and like, you know, so many bands that have been instrumental in our kind of sound. Kind of all hit me at the same time, and Dan really got into them at the same time. So there were never any like, there wasn't really much of a difference between, you know, Gajira and Yarb and do you know this band Arm for Apocalypse?
No, I don't.
They're like a fucking like sludge core band from the US, but they're like, they wrote the blueprint for Conjurer 100%. Like they're obsessed with this band. But yeah, we found out about all this stuff kind of at the same time, so it didn't feel weird to be like mixing any of it. And we didn't really think about the fact that, you know, there's on our first EP, there's this doom song Frail that just has like this massive black metal section in the middle. Like it just felt like what, you know, it all felt natural to us. And as long as the song feels natural, we don't really think about what's going into it or, you know, what it sounds like. As long as it feels like a Conjurer song and it sounds good, you know, as long as we're into it, that's what it is. Whether it comes out as a country and western track or a 12-minute doom song with one note in it, like as long as we're happy with it, that's all that we really look for. So sorry.
Yeah, brother.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting one. We get asked that a lot, like, how do you fuse all these genres? And it's like, well, we just look at each individual song as it comes, and the idea is write a good song. It's not like write a black metal song or write this or write that.